Hello and welcome back to another Metaphysical Monday here on Uncensored Intuition. Today we're talking about sigils, and I'm going to teach you a couple of different methods to creating a sigil. Typically when you see one of these videos, they show you their method. Well, I'm going to show you 4 different methods. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, my name is Melissa, and every Monday I make a video about a metaphysical topic of some sort, or magical topic, if you will, and then I throw in some tarot readings here and there, maybe once a week, and also a witchy unboxing every month. So if you're into that, stick around and maybe hit that subscribe button. Check out a couple other videos first, because I'm kind of all over the place. Yeah, if you like randomness, like don't waste your time looking at the other videos. Just hit the button. Anyways, let's start talking about sigils. Okay, so the 4 ways that I'm going to describe are I feel like the first way you learn to make a sigil is to take the letters out of an intention and just join the letters and make like a design out of the letters like touching each other. I feel like that's like the simplest and maybe the first way most people learn how to do it. I'm going to show you like the clock way, or I know that they don't have names that I know of. But it's making a circle and changing the letters into numbers. We'll get into detail. I'm going to also show you like the block of 9 method. That's what I'm calling it. It's a 3x3 grid, where you would also change them into numbers. And then the witch's wheel, which I feel like is also pretty common. But I'm going to show you. And I'm actually making a workbook. If you don't know and you're new to the channel, I make spiritual workbooks, tarot card a day pull journals, shadow work prompt journals, that kind of stuff. I make those, and I decided I wanted to make a sigil workbook. I know a lot of people burn their sigils. We'll talk about that later. You can tear it out and burn it, but to get you started, especially if you're new, to get you used to it. And I'm going to include all of these methods in that workbook. So this is actually a page. I may change it. I designed it for the video, so but it may be just like this in the book. So we're gonna go through the different ways. Let's start with not using numbers. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about something else though. We create our sigil, and then you have to, or most people feel like you have to, activate your sigil. So we'll talk about activation of sigils. There are many methods to that as well. The sigils got started, and I can't remember his first name. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Osmond Spare. I can't remember what his first name is. Anyways, there he has some books. A lot of it is related to chaos magic, which is where I kind of feel I fall into that category. So yeah, I don't really like labels, and I feel like that makes it that way. Totally different topic. But sigil magic is mainly associated with chaos magic or chaos witches. Which is more of a psychological approach to energy manipulation or magic. There's a lot of literature on that, and we could go into a whole different like series just on that. But specifically, sigils are becoming more and more popular without really knowing the origins. We're not going to go into the history or the origins. I will just say something Osmond Spare is really the one who coined sigils. Not that they haven't been around for centuries. They just they were more of a talisman type thing, which is an actual specific thing that is not sigils, but is very similar. But it kind of has been around for a while in that respect. What he did was kind of coined it into the word sigil and how to create your own sigil, which is from the Latin sigillum, I think, sigillus or sigillum, which translates to seal. So old, coat of arms kind of seal, a wax seal, thinking it in those terms, kind of the word originates from there. So I keep smacking that. I should move my arm. Okay, so let's get into how to create your sigil now that you know like where it kind of started, and what it's kind of associated with. So what you're going to do is write out, I have this crossed out because that's not supposed to be there because I copied it from the other side of the page. So my intention, you're going to write out your intention. Let's do this together. I'm just going to do one. I'm probably not going to actually use it, but since we're here on YouTube, I'm going to make my intention uncensored. Oh, it would help if I spelled it right. Uncensored intuition is visible to all who, this is a long one, it shouldn't normally be this long, all who wish to learn. Okay, it's a long one. Don't usually do them this long. You want to make it as short and concise as possible. I lose weight. I eat healthy. I make healthy food choices. Shorter than that. That makes it a little bit easier, but you can make it as long as you want because you're going to cross some letters out. Another thing I want to note about creating your sigil, when you're writing the intention, the initial intention that you put in should be in the positive frame and also in like the current time set. So I am making healthy food choices. Uncensored intuition is visible, like it's already happening. Okay. Because what it's doing is it's kind of ingraining into your subconscious, which is, in my opinion, and my understanding of how this works, is basically the connection to the universe and your manifestations and law of attraction. I don't like including that in there because law of attraction has a bad rap and it's not used properly in my opinion, but that is just my opinion. Also, before we get too far into this, I want to state clearly that I am not an expert. I am simply here as a muse to bring information that you may wish to expand upon. I am not the end-all be-all for your resources or your information. I am simply here to put out information that may inspire you to take action in your life, learn more about yourself, or learn more about your practice. I am not an expert. Some of my information is limited. There is so much information and Google is free. So if you don't like something I'm saying, or if it doesn't resonate or doesn't seem accurate, definitely do your own research. I encourage that. I am human and I make mistakes. I misunderstand things occasionally. And I keep getting comments on astrology videos about me mixing up what sign is what element. It happens a lot for me. It's just something that I have not, I guess I'm just not that into it enough to memorize it, I guess. Yeah, I forget sometimes. I mix things up. We're human. So with that being said, we have written our intention, and then we're going to cross out all of the vowels. Dun, 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 dun. I'm making up a tune. All right. This part you probably have already been familiar with, unless you're completely new. So we've crossed out all of the vowels, and then we're going to go in and we only want one of each consonant. So if we have duplicate consonants, we're going to cross those out as well. So N, we're going to cross that out. C, D, N, we already did that. T, there's two T's there. We already have an N. We already have an S. That V can stay. Goes that by S. B we can keep. L we can keep. We already have a T. L, we already have L. There's two L's there. W we can keep. H. Keep. W. We already have one of those. S, we already have that. We already have an H. We already have a T. We already have L. Do we have R? We already have R. And we already have N. So I have crossed out all of, and this is why I said it's not that bad if you make it too long, because you're just going to cross all the repeats out anyways. So I've crossed out all of the vowels and all of the repeated consonants. And we are left with, and for this worksheet that may be changed, we're going to write it down here. What's left. So we have U, N, S, R, D. It is a little long. T, V, B, L. I'm making them all capital. W, H, and that's it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 letters, which is kind of a lot. It is kind of a lot. All right, so that's what we're going to do here. So these are what we're left with. That is our intention. So doing this without numbers, there are two options that I am familiar with. Okay, and I kind of just did the, like a little doodle with random letters, but that's what you would do. You would take, like, I would take my U, and then I would make, you just add them together in a way that makes sense for you. They can be backwards, they can be upside down. Oh, that kind of looks like a bad word. Right, that's all right. And then we'll put that there. See, the B is very obvious what it is. This is kind of my least favorite way of doing this, because I feel like, there. So it's terrible. It's terrible. I don't like doing it this way. So, but I feel like doing it this way, this is my least preferred way. I don't do it this way anymore. Maybe I'm just not creative enough for that. But I feel like your brain can still see the letters and will still try to figure out what the letters are. So I don't prefer this method, but if that is easiest for you to understand or do, or you like it, or you like having the letters there and your brain doesn't try and figure every little thing out, then more power to you. But people still use it this way. It's very common for logos as well. Logos can be sigils. Logos can also be pentacles, but that is last Monday's video. So if you haven't seen that and you don't know what I'm talking about, you might be interested in that. All right, so the other way of doing it without changing them into numbers is with a witch's wheel. I designed this from scratch myself. This is my image. So what it is a wheel with all of the letters of the alphabet, even the vowels. So I'm trying to do this backwards. Right here is A, B, C, D, E, all the way through M, and then we continue here, and then we have the center here. What you would do without taking out the letters is connect all of your letters, and that's creating your sigil. I think I might have made mine too long for this. Now, you can use just the letters that are left after taking out the duplicates. Absolutely. It is completely up to you. This type of magic is not, there are no rules. Like, you get to decide how you want to do it. So because mine is so long, I am going to continue with the leftover letters, and I'm going to start with U, and I like to mark the first one with a circle. U. And then we're going to go to the N. You don't have to make straight lines. You could arc your lines. You can curve your lines. However it feels right to you. S. I should have done this with a marker. I have a highlighter. I'll go over it when I'm done. And then R. And then this one I'm going to curve. There. And then we're going to go to T. I'm going to go straight. And then we're going to go to V, which will also be straight. B. I'm going to curve the other way. L. And like I said, you can do this however you want. W. And then H. H, I'm going to make a loop. All right, and then I like to end it with a line so I know where the end is. I'm going to highlight this real quick because you're not going to be able to see it. All right, so we have our circle here. Oh, there's a bird right here outside my window. Oh, thanks for coming to visit. Oh, where did I go with that? I messed it up, guys. All right. This is how my sigil ended up looking after doing it on the witch's wheel. So I started here with a dot, and then we had N, and then we went down here, and this one I curved, and then I went straight here, from here to there, then I curved this one straight. This one was supposed to go here and then go down here, but I just made one big continuous, which is totally fine. And I did a little curly there and there. So that would be my sigil for that purpose. So then those are the two that you could do without using numbers. I like numbers. I like numerology. Numbers have power too. Numbers have vibration. So incorporating numbers into it is also beneficial. You can do more in the numerology work on it than what I'm going to show you. If you want to get really deep into the vibration of each number and incorporate that into your sigil, you can definitely do that as well. I'm just going to show you simply the method, and it's on the other side of my paper. I already have my, we're going to do the same thing. We're writing our intention, crossing out the vowels and the duplicates. I'm going to use these, and we're going to convert those into numbers. And I've provided a handy dandy chart here that will help. So that's the most common association for numbers and letters that you would use in numerology, going from 1 to 9. Some of them you will find incorporate a 0, totally up to you. Like I said, this is your thing. All right, so I need to bring these here. UN, SRD, TVB, LWH. Okay, so U is number 3, N 5, S 1, R 9, D 4, T is 2, V is 4, B is 2, L is 3, W is 5, and H is 8. Okay, so I'll show you what I did there. So I just found the U here, and it's a number 3. N is a number 5, and then I just wrote them below there. So we have them transposed into the numeric value, which can hold its own vibration. So the two methods I have using numbers are the circle and then the block of 9, or the 3x3 grid. So I have a circle here, and how I would do that is randomly place the numbers 1 through 9 around the circle. They don't have to be in order. They can be in order if you prefer it that way, if that makes you feel more comfortable. And I didn't really leave space for 9, but there we go. So randomly placed around here. And then we're just going to go from the outside of the circle and connect our numbers. So we have 3 for you. And again, I like to start with a dot and end with a line. It's just what I do. 3, 2, 5. And also you can curve lines, you can arc lines, you can swirly them, you can, it is your sigil. You can do it however you want. 5, and then 1, 9, 4. Oh, it's kind of making a square. 2, I'm going to arc back to 4. That's a good reason to arc it. And back to 2. Let's do a curly on that one to differentiate it. And then 3, 5, again, 3 and 5 are next to each other again, okay. And 8. I arced that 8. All right, so this is what I ended up with. Okay, now you can go back and add embellishments. You can add dots or lines or squiggles or whatever. Like you can do little doodles, make it into a doodle. I feel like this looks like a bow and an arrow. I like it. So maybe I'll put a little emphasis on the arrow end here, and then maybe make the bow part a little bit wider and thicker. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. All right. So now it looks like a bow here shooting an arrow, right? Totally up to you. And then, so the other way using numbers is this 3x3 grid or block of 9. Same-ish concept. So we're going to randomly fill the boxes with numbers. There. Very randomly added numbers into each box. And then same thing. We're going to go 3 to 5 to 1. Now you can go to the center of each box. You can pick a corner of the box. Again, totally up to you. I'm going to go to the edge of the box on this one, 4, and then 2, middle of the box, and then 4 again. Like you can decide with yourself how you want to sequence it as well. Like, and by that I mean okay, I'm gonna have to trace over that. By that I mean if you want to go like, okay, so the first time I'm in there, I'm gonna go to the center. If I have to go to that number again, I'm gonna go to a corner, and if I have to go to that number again, I'm gonna go to another corner. I just did it randomly. So I'm gonna highlight this so you can see how it turned out. There's my circle. We arced down. We went here. And you would redraw, would be my next step. Without the grid. So it would be on a separate piece of paper. So that's how that one turned out. Okay. It looks like a bunch of scribbles, but that's, in my opinion, that's what you want. You want it to look like a bunch of scribbles because you don't want your brain trying to think of what it is or figure it out. What you want is for the symbol to kind of embed the message into your subconscious. So that's where you would go into activating your sigil. So there are so many different methods. Again, I recommend Google. I did find an article that had some, like a long list. I believe I saved it. If I saved it, I'll pop it in the description. That has so many methods of how to charge and activate your sigil. So you want to start by charging it with your energy in whatever way you prefer. Personally, I like to do like the zone out method. I made that up myself, I think, maybe not. Where you literally just stare at it. And do you remember those, back in the 90s, we had those puzzle book things where, like, optical illusions, where it just looked like a bunch of geometric shapes. But if you stared at it just right, crossed your eyes a little bit and kind of moved it back, like a 3D image would pop out. That kind of zoning out. So what happens is I will stare at it and just stare at it. And like I felt like the trick to that, and what I use as a trick to kind of getting it to isolate itself and pop off the page, is crossing your eyes a little bit. I know it sounds weird, but I will like stare at it and kind of, you want a dissociated gaze. This is also very similar to scrying, which will be in maybe the next video or the video after, or next Monday. Yeah, I think that's next Monday's video. So I would stare at it, maybe cross my eyes a little bit until it kind of relaxed, my eyes relax, and then you kind of start to see the image maybe even move. It like comes to life. And that's what you want to kind of imprint on your subconscious. And there are many other ways to do it. There, you can meditate on it, looking at it. There are many different theories on how charging it even works. I'm just showing you the construction of it. There are many different methods. There are many different ideas on how it works. If this is something you're drawn to, I encourage you to do research. Okay? Very important for you to understand why you're doing it. The why for you may be different than the why for me. So, or the how it works may be different for you than it is for me. I'm a really strong believer that everyone's right. Everyone's right. If you believe that there is one God and he sent his son Jesus to save the world, you're right. Because in your reality, that is your reality. And your truth is true for you. That's just what I believe. So however you feel that this works for you is true for you. So if what I say doesn't resonate, please do your research. But that is typically how I would charge the sigil. There are many ways people charge. And also there's a difference, in my opinion, there's a difference between charging it and activating it. Charging it is putting your energy into it, getting kind of like a psychological bond with the symbol and what it represents. But then you activate it, and then there's another step after that. So charging it, I'll leave an article that shows different ways to charge it or activate it. So charging it is kind of getting a connection, psychological connection with it. Activating it is where you have created that connection, and then you disperse the energy out into the ethers for it to bring in whatever it is your intention was. That would be activating. There are many ways of activating it. The most talked about one is through orgasm, whether you're male or female. My two ways that I do it are through breath. I will blow on it too, because I feel like there's a lot of power in breath. A lot of our energy is stored in our breath. Blowing on it, breathing, literally breathing life into it, is a big one for me. Also, your spit, body fluids, it's a connection to you. I feel like it activates it too. That's another way that I have done a sigil. I don't lick the ink, but I will lick my finger with the intention of activating it and allowing it to become part of me. And then the third or fourth, whatever step we're on, I don't think I numbered the steps. The last step is to forget about it. And that I feel like is the hardest part for a lot. That's the hard part, because you're like, okay, when's it going to come? When's it going to come? When is it going to come? You're still thinking about it. And it's, as long as they're thinking about it, it's not going to show up, because your thinking about it is keeping it in here and not letting it go out there. So, people burn it, bury it. Again, many different methods of doing this. But like I said, I'm going to make it into a workbook where you could literally tear it out. There will be like a blank page to redraw it, so your sigil is not on your grid or your circle or your wheel or what have you. There will be a separate blank page for you to draw the final one after you've embellished to your heart's content. And then you can tear that page out and activate it or release it however you want, whether that is burning it, burying it, eating it. Don't eat it. Don't eat the paper. The ink is not good for you, but to each his own. However you want to do it. You want to flush it down the toilet, whatever you want to do. That would be for very specific intentions, by the way. So yeah, that's what I have on sigils. Ask questions, because there's a lot more information. Google things, come back and let me know what you found. Absolutely. Correct me if you want to. Yeah, that's totally fine with me. I hope I've inspired you to take some action in your life, and I will see you in the next video. And don't forget, the magic you seek is within you. Have a blessed day.